Any questions or comments on feedback on those? Trying to see if any of my colleagues are on the call. Okay. And I understand that those presentations will be forwarded to Corinne Lindo this afternoon so she can get those out to committee members in advance of the meeting. So thank you for that. We'll have 5 first reads that will be read in and then dispensed during the following meeting cycle. So let's go ahead and jump into the ordinances for second read. First one is item 6, 22-0-1589. These are the leases at the commercial property near Piedmont Park. Who from the department will be presenting this one? Is this out of Deem or I'm assuming?
I need to check this one, Councilmember Juan. But I need to verify this one.
Okay. And when you do, I guess the question I had is I understand it just, well, let me rephrase the question. I'm not sure if this is just for the existing tenants or if it's for
so I
new
thought
prospects.
this was for the first. Yeah, this is gonna be us. So this is for the existing tenants. Okay. I thought this was for the first read, but yeah, this would be for the existing tenants.
Okay. And then
to extend the lease.
Okay, and then it'd be nice if there is a sample lease or a current, template lease, rather in addition to just the list of the tenants. If that's something that we can provide and add to this as well.
You want us to add the copy of the boilerplate lease?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that would be helpful to have with this attached with this legislation because I'd like to see that as well.
No problem.
Since the other ones were done when I wasn't here. All right. Any other questions or requests? So, Mr. Santillo, you'll confirm what with Ms. Lindo. I mean, if this is ready to go and if you'll be presenting.
Yep.
Okay.
I will do so.
Great. Thank you. All right, anything else on this one? All right, item 7, 22-0-1590. This is renewal option number 1 with Civic Plus. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? But who from the department will be presenting this? Is this out of AIM or is this out of council office? Okay, I guess we'll find out Wednesday.
Mr. Chair, yes, I will speak to the clerk's office. This would be someone from the office of the clerk.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Lindo. All right, any questions or comments on that one? All right, item number 8, 22-0-1591, Matt Westmoreland's paper regarding APS. Sounds like a settlement in terms of taxes due, taxes, interest due on a bond issuance. Who is someone from finance going to present this?
Going to be legal and finance.
Okay. Legal and finance. And I understand there'll be a substitute for funding sources. And then, yeah, when y'all present, if y'all could just obviously explain how we got to where we are, but then if this simply cures in arrears, or if it also, what happens going forward, or if there is even a need in terms of going forward. All right, Ms. Hickson.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but this will, in other words, they're paying us. We're not paying them.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah,
We'll be glad to do that.
Right. I just didn't know what the ongoing relationship and the status of this particular matter would be going forward. So.
Okay.
All right. Other questions or requests from my colleagues on this one? Okay, we'll keep moving. So items 9, 10, 11, 15, and 19 are all council contributions. So we'll take those hopefully in a group. Don't know if anybody has any questions or comments about those. Okay, that takes us to number 12. All right, yeah, that's 22-0-1596. This is Councilmember Winston's paper, donate ARPA funds to the United Way for administrative costs. I understand there will be a substitute to add funding codes, but who from the department will be speaking to this one?
Jerry Deloach will be speaking to it from the Department of Finance.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Carr. All right, any questions or requests for this paper? Okay, item 13, Councilmember Bakhtiari's paper to extend a closing date for a purchase and sale agreement. Who will be speaking to this paper? Is someone from Parks and Rec going to speak to this? Since it's going to be the park space.
Hello,
Yes.
this is Carmen Anderson. I will speak with the commissioner to see who would be speaking on this one.
Okay. Yeah, invite the new commissioner to come, like, scare us or let us scare him. I'm kidding. Okay, great. So we'll just put a placeholder there that someone from Parks should be presenting this one. All right. Any questions or requests from my colleagues on this paper? All right, number 14, Mr. Shook's paper, master lease agreement for radios for police fire. Someone from police and fire speaking to this or AIM?
It'll be Courtney Knight from the Department of Finance.
Okay. I have a question on this one. I've this caption with the financial institution to be identified. That one, I don't know that I've ever seen that before, where it hasn't been a specific vendor. So I'm hopefully Mr. Knight can explain why we're doing that way and not identifying a specific recipient.
Correct. In addition to Courtney Knight, this is in conjunction with Mr. Ross, and I believe he works with AIM.
Okay. All right, so we'll put them both down as available to speak to this on Wednesday. But Ms. Carr, if you could relay or something. Yes.
Councilmember Juan, I think at the time we were drafting this legislation, the institution had not yet been decided upon, and I think there's still some finalization of those documents as to why they haven't been named.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a situation where we hold it until it is named, or?
I don't think so. I think by Wednesday it may be appropriate at that time.
Gotcha.
Once they
All right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. All right. Any, oh yeah, because we have to insert, we have, well, okay, I stapled my pages wrong. All right. Other questions for that, on that one? Yeah, same thing on, we've already talked about 15, but item 16, 22-01620, this is Councilmember Hillis's paper, but this is for custom reserve fire pumpers for Atlanta Fire. So who will be speaking to this one from the department?
That is Courtney Knight and also Chief Rod Smith.
Okay.
So.
Oops, Courtney Knight. All right, so same question on this one. So I don't know if by Wednesday we'll know who the vendor is, but just unusual to see. So hopefully in the substitute that brings in the funding sources on both, we'll be able to identify the vendor. All right, other questions or feedback on this paper? Okay, item 17, 22-01621, Councilmember Hillis's paper, $12 million for, it looks like the Chattahoochee Brick Company acquisition. Who will be speaking to this from the administration?
So I do believe that's Deputy COO Burks may be speaking to this legislation, but we can confirm and double check. So
thank you. So from the finance side, I see this is coming, believe it's coming from uncommitted fund balance. I'm assuming that's from FY22 that we just wrapped. And if that is the case, is this intended to simply be an advance until the infrastructure bonds are available?
that is correct. So right now it is coming from committed fund balance. And so because this project was a part of the infrastructure, so once we close the deal, we have a lot of background work, accounting work to, get the money back and replenish. So it's really kind of like an advance to move forward until we close that deal.
Okay. I don't
remember
know.
we have a briefing with you on some specifics on this, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say to the extent that is the case, and it is our practice, if it should be in the legislation, in terms of that language that clarifies, let's think about whether or not we need to do that, for this one.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
And I do believe that it may be in there, but we can definitely, Deputy CFO Wilson and I will be meeting with you and some of the other council members just to make sure that we can touch base and provide more detail if needed.
Thank you. Yep, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Other questions or requests on this paper? All right, onward. Item 18, 22-01627, Councilmember Overstreet's paper. This is the municipal facilities bond transfer. Adams Park. Who will be speaking to this paper? Will someone from Parks and Rec be speaking to this? Or no, it's road safety. So is it ADOT? Does anyone know?
I don't know for sure, but I'll find out.
Okay.
If appropriate, I'll speak to it.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Bowman. All right. All right, so that takes us to, getting off. Okay. That takes us to item number 19, sorry. No, we've already talked about that. That's a contribution. Item number 20, 22-01635, Mr. Faroki's paper, creating the Office of International and Immigrant Affairs. Who from the administration will be speaking to this?
Good afternoon, Councilmember Juan. Assistant Director Paulina Guzman with the Office of International Affairs will speak to this item on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
There are some additional discussions with the Finance Committee. There may be a request to hold this item for one cycle, but as of yet, paper still may be moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pace. If you can relay back to them, question I do have for this, and would just like an explanation of the logic of the combination of equity, diversity, and inclusion in with under this new office structure. So,
well, this actually removes the office from under the equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Okay.
Currently, it's a division within the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and now this would be a standalone office.
So yeah, so just again, someone walking us through the logic. I think I'll take a closer look at the legislation language and maybe we need some little clarification as well, but I'll take a look at that. But yeah, just a walkthrough of why we're doing this and the logic, and then also the funding side of things. If this is simply a reshuffling of the deck, but won't incur additional funds or incremental funds over what was approved in the budget.
Okay, we'll do.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Pace. All right, I think that takes us to resolutions now. So
I have a question about that paper.
Mr. Shook, please.
Yeah. So the functions that are being envisaged here as being contained within a department, I mean, they're ongoing currently, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, government doesn't create new departments without the costs going up. So someone's, going to need to lay out what that extra cost is going to be.
There are no anticipated increases within that budget. This is the consolidation of two current offices. Yes.
Oh, we're going to
so
save
right
money.
now you have the Office of International Affairs as well as the Office of Immigrant Affairs or Welcoming Atlanta.
Okay, good.
What this legislation does is consolidate those offices. So you actually would potentially see a cost savings in some of their expenses.
That's marvelous. So we're going to have a new commissioner?
No, this director would still report to the chief of staff. So these are already existing divisions under the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And what this legislation does is remove those two divisions from under OEDI and combines them as one office under the Office of the Mayor.
All right. I'm turning off my mic. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Mr. Pace, obviously, we just need someone to walk us through the logic and then what the current structure is, the end structure, and then any financial implications of this. So, okay, other questions or requests from my colleagues? All right, resolutions. Item 21, 22-R4024, Mr. Amos's paper. This is for time clock replacement and licensing. Questions or requests for this paper? I understand we need to amend it to attach the procurement paperwork associated with it. And yeah, who from the department will be speaking to this? Because I'd like to hear more about the Kronos migration to Oracle. That it sounds like that this project incurs or contemplates.
That will be Brittany Carter from AIM.
Okay. Thank you. All right, other questions or requests? All right, item 22-R4031. This is the water refund paper. I'm assuming this is going to be held. I think that's our indication that there isn't a need to refund any money. Is that correct from Watershed?
This is Kathy Martin. That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, 22-R4032 is your Shook's paper. This is a public awareness campaign with Jacob's Eye for Division of Office of the Inspector General. Any questions or requests on this paper? And we are going to have to amend it to attach the procurement paperwork. But any requests or questions? All right, item 24, 22-R4035, Councilmember Boone's paper, Georgia Vocational Rehab Agency, Cafe 55. Questions? I have a question on this one too. Hopefully there, first of all, who will be speaking to this from the administration? Is this Dean?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe we will be talking about that.
Okay, question for you, just I'd be curious as to, well, we have to amend it to change the caption so that reflects IGA instead of MOU. But then this is another one I'd like to see if there is a template agreement that we can attach and be able to review. And then I'm more curious about the financial terms with this. I understand that it's basically, I'm assuming we're just giving them the space and there's no financial obligation either way. But if we can discuss that on Wednesday, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay. Other questions or requests?
Yeah, I have a question. So
Yep.
The building or occupants thereof, I guess, were requested as of today to get things up to the 75% level. And now we've got this monkeypox shadow kind of casting itself over things. What's in the contract regarding, what the vendor is expecting? Because I'm not so sure. I mean, we're not at full strength now, and I don't know when we're going to be.
I don't know, DOP may want to chime in on that one.
Yes, it's going to probably be something that we're going to recommend holding.
Okay.
Remy, I'd like to have that conversation with you, and council members, you're absolutely correct. This is difficult for us to engage a party when the numbers of participants in the building are uncertain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, yeah, if y'all will let us know when we start the meeting on Wednesday, how you want to proceed, that'd be great. All right, so item 25, 22-R4037, multiple council members, and this is a funding request to support the bid for the Democratic National Convention. Who will be presenting this one for the administration?
Councilmember Juan, either the senior advisor, Courtney English, or deputy chief of staff will speak to that item.
Okay. All right, so I am curious about, a question I'll have is around the funding source for this. because when I spoke to Mr. English previously, I think it's different than what this paper is indicating. But yeah, if we can just get that clarification from who's ever presenting on Wednesday, that'd be great.
Will do.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. All right, item 2622-R4040, Mr. Bond's paper. This is accepting donation of food and service donations for celebration of India's 75 years of independence. All right, so this is, Ms. Lindo, I'm looking now, this is a receipt of a donation, but we're gonna need a substitute for the specifics on this, right? All right, so if you will check with the author to see if he has that value and if this will be ready to go on Wednesday, that'd be great, please.
Will do.
All right, thank you. All right, item 27, 22-R4041 and 2822-R4042. This is some council members requesting flags be displayed in the atrium for India as well as Pakistan. Who from the department can answer questions on this paper? And yeah, let's start there first.
If I may, Councilmember Juan.
Yes.
These two items are requesting that flags of the respective countries be installed in the City Hall atrium.
Yep.
But as you may know, the flags that currently exist are all cities that are part of the Sister Cities program.
Yeah.
Which has pretty been dormant for the last few years.
Yes.
Our Office of International Affairs has pinned a memo to Councilmember Bond to make him aware of that.
Okay.
See if there's another option that he would be, looking at instituting rather than this.
Okay.
Currently, they have what are called strategic partnerships.
Yep.
The host of other countries. But I think this would set a precedent because if other countries also wanted to add their flags in the atrium, you wouldn't want to take one and leave out another. So I'm hoping that we can meet with Mr. Bond prior to Monday to see if there's another option that he may have for these two papers.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pace. That's exactly the question I had, was I thought they were out there for Sister City. So I just needed someone to be able to be there to clarify that. So yeah, if y'all can either have that conversation with the author and then let us know, hopefully either you or he on Wednesday, how best to proceed with this, even if it's just holding that as y'all continue to discuss.
Will do.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, item 29, 22-R4166. This is a First Amendment for citywide security guard services. Looks like the legislation in itself is ready to go. I had requested, well, first of all, who from the department will be speaking to this?
It'll be us, Councilmember Juan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. And I don't know, I haven't looked at the legislation, but I don't know if the dollar amount history is in this as well. Just so that we can compare what the funding levels were for the first part of the term versus what's being requested here. Is that something y'all can have by Wednesday for us, please?
Sure, we'll look into that as well.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or requests for that paper? Okay, item 30, 22-R4167, Second Amendment, add funding joint. This is for 2 MGCs for Parks and Rec. Is someone from Parks going to be speaking to this one?
Yes, sir. This is Carmen Anderson again,
Okay.
and that person will be Henry Thompson.
Okay, great. Actually, I have a similar request for this one too. It's just the contracting history for the. Actually, I think we approved a certain amount previously, and the first couple of task orders haven't necessarily gone up to that. But if someone could have that for us on Wednesday, that'd be great.
Sure thing.
All right, thank you. All right, 22-R4168. This is our vending services contract, second renewal option. Who will be speaking to this?
We will speak to that as well.
All right. Hey, Mr. Santiago, I'm kind of curious. I mean, I know the dollar amount isn't large, but I guess, the minimum contributions back. To Mr. Shook's point earlier, in terms of how did we suspend that during the pandemic in terms of not having anyone in City Hall, or even in some of our other locations, wherever these are at?
It was suspended for a short period of time, but for the most part, the vending machines has been okay, as far as City Hall now. They had some,
People still want.
right, they had
Still
some
want their
lackluster,
snacks.
they had some lackluster pieces to it, but, for the most part, it's still in effect.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. Other questions or comments on this one? Okay, item number 32, 22-R4169, special procurement for fleet and fuel management, maintenance and support. Questions or requests? This looks like everything is intact, so we don't even need to amend this, but it's ready to go for discussion. Any questions or comments? Okay, and the last one, 22-R4170. This is reemployment of Bruce Bell in the office as Director of Office of Contract Compliance. Questions or requests on this one? I do have a request. Oh, well, who's going to present this paper? Is this HR or will it be OIG?
Good afternoon, Councilmember Juan. I believe that the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Ingram, will be available to present this. If not, HR will be available.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Norman. Question for whoever does present, though, is that Ms. Lindo is looking at kind of the period when Mr. Bell left the city and then came back, just trying to make sure we have all the documentation, the contract, any legislation that authorized that. So if you know someone, whoever's presenting, can make sure that that information is readily available on Wednesday, that would be appreciated.
Okay, I do know I have a copy of the contract, so
Okay.
I'll make sure she has a copy
Okay.
of that.
Yeah, contract and then obviously the authorizing legislation. So
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate
problem.
that. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, dual referred. We have 4 that are on our agenda. We'll just wait to see if the committees, as they meet today and tomorrow, move them forward. And then that takes us to papers held. Anything the department or administration wants to move off of held? I have a question about number 43, and that's the tax levy. Are we ready to go on that yet? I don't know if Fulton and APS have done their work or if we're still kind of holding on that.
Yes, that one should come off hold.
Okay. All right. And so we'll have I guess a substitute for that includes their rates, their millage rates.
Yep. Yeah,
Perfect.
and
Yep.
Chief Davis will speak to it.
Okay. All right. Any others coming off of held? Okay. Finally, if anything, anybody else have in terms of legislation? Okay, the last comment I have is, so and this is, I'm glad Vice Chair is on here as well. Now that we're past the 6-month mark, I've asked Ms. Lindo, she and I are going to sit down and look at the 2022 goals and objectives of the committee and make sure we've tackled what we should have, and then plan out the next 6 months in terms of our workload ahead of us, and if we need to schedule in any additional presentations or work sessions. So just be mindful of that. If there's anything committee members want to make sure that we do tackle, to let either her or me know as soon as you can, so we can factor that into our work plan. Any other questions or comments for the good of the order? All right, we'll see everybody at 1:30 on Wednesday afternoon. Thank y'all. Have a good Monday.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.